Hey everyone, Jason here, digital marketing consultant. And if you're stressed out with email like me, then this 4-step inbox system is going to help you tame that email and maybe, just maybe, reach inbox zero. Timestamps below, along with some other helpful productivity videos to stay organized with your files and run your virtual team. So here I'm going to focus on email. And the very first step number 0 actually, it's not even a step, is to recognize why email stresses us out so much. And that is simply FOMO, the fear of missing out. After all, if we didn't care about the emails that came in, there would be no stress, right? We've all had that experience where there was that one time or that one day we didn't check our inbox and something super important came through and caused a lot of headaches or problems, or we just missed a really great opportunity. And so we want to mitigate that and realize that that is few and far between when it comes to the amount of emails that we receive. Maybe 3% of the emails we receive actually would fit that category, and the rest are just trying to be important or pretending to be important. So the very first step I have for you is schedule. And this is something that was an absolute game changer for me when I co-founded my own agency. And this is something that I still use to this day to keep my inbox tame. And that is only checking my inbox at specific times. A big mistake a lot of entrepreneurs and just people in general make is allowing email to interrupt their day and sometimes control how their day is spent. And so what you want to do is choose 2 to 3 times where you're going to open yourself up to the world and actually respond and read emails and then close yourself back up. Because chances are, if something is a real emergency, you're probably going to get a text or phone call. They're not going to just email you about it. So if you go 3 or 4 hours or 5 hours between checking your email throughout the day, you're probably not going to have any fires get too big before you actually realize that there's something important in your inbox. And so what I like to do is schedule a time at the end of my day. Now I realize you might not have that much control over when you have to check your email. I'll get to how to actually manage that when we get to step number 4. But what's really important here is you schedule either 2 to 3 times a day, 90 minutes max, where you actually go through your inbox. And this will allow you to focus on what's important, and it will also train other people in your life and in your professional sphere that you aren't going to be someone who's going to respond to every single email immediately because, well, you do have important work to do. We all have important work to do. An email is just a communication, and it should be a reprieve from the work that we're actually doing, not a driver for that work. Again, I'll get to more on that in step number 4. Now, once you do check your inbox, the first thing you want to do is prioritize. So you don't want to open any emails until you know the exact order in which you have to handle them. Because the last thing you want to do is open a bunch of emails and have all of those conversations swirling around in your head, and then you go back to the first or second one, and then you start going through. It is really hard, though, because you will be curious. You go, oh, I wonder what that says. But you definitely want to prioritize. So here's how I've prioritized and how I make sure I separate using a file system. So the first thing that I like to do, obviously your priorities might be a little different, is I look for emails from clients, then I go to active leads, inactive leads, bills, robots, and then untagged. And the reason I'm easily able to go through this priority list is because I've created a folder and tag for each one. Now, you can get super detailed like I have, where I have a specific folder and tag for each client and different types of leads that we have. But if you just want to be overarching, you have 5 or 6 tags or labels and you make them different colors. That way it's very easy for you to scan your inbox and see what is important and what isn't. And so a very simple way to do this, if you're using something like Gmail, is to use their different inbox functions. I forget what they call those tabs at the top, but you can just click and drag emails to different sections based upon the type of emails that they are. So what I like to do before I go through any sort of tagging, or if an automated rule hasn't picked something up yet, in my primary, I want team emails, emails from customers, and emails from prospects. Only real people. If it's a robot, it shouldn't be in my primary. Then I use the social tab for customers and teams. So these are ongoing conversations. And then the promotions tab is obviously all that noise. I'll get to more on that in a little bit here. And then for anything that has to do with bills or updates, I go ahead and put it there. So those are the robot emails that aren't promotional. And then finally forms, I just put all my personal stuff there. Obviously, family and friends do need a place to email you as well. And if you want to take this a step further, I recommend starting to set up tags and folders for every single email that comes through. I'll link up in the cards in the description to a video that walks through how to actually set these up inside of Gmail, but you can set this up in pretty much any email client that you have. And so what I like doing is having an accounting tag, one for team, content, prospects, customers, and then I also have one for travel and newsletters. And when I was traveling, it was very nice to easily just be able to click on the travel one and be able to pull up my plane ticket or reservation or whatever else. So when you do get to travel again, that is something that you're probably going to want to do as well. And so just taking a quick look, this is what it looks like inside my own inbox. You'll see that there is clearly a different color for each one of my labels or folders here. I will say team 1/5, the green one at the bottom, that's actually accounting. I just use this really OCD internal system. So that's the only reason it doesn't say accounting. And of course, I waited to take the screenshot when my inbox was 0, although it definitely doesn't stay inbox 0 for long. But for that particular 10 or 15 minutes, it did. And then someone emailed me, although I digress. So once you have those, you're prioritizing your emails and you're making sure that you're only reading ones from real people. One of the biggest tips I can give you, or biggest things that has helped me with managing emails and making sure I don't miss any of those ones that is important, is separating. So that is having 2 emails actually. So I have an email where I pretty much only have real people email me and the businesses I actually need updates from, like our web hosting or some of the software that we use to run our digital agency like Basecamp or G Suite. And that's simply because I need those invoices to come into my email. But anything and everything else that's promotional, especially when I buy stuff personally, I use a completely separate email, and that helps make sure that I don't get my inbox cluttered with a bunch of promotionals, things, and newsletters. And so I highly recommend trying to work so you have one email that is for actual real people and receipts, and then an email for pretty much everything else. And a quick little advanced tip is you can actually set things up so your second email that has all your subscriptions automatically sends your receipts over, because whenever you get billing from whatever your subscriptions are, whatever you're purchasing, they pretty much always use the same subject line. And so you can set Gmail up to send it to your real inbox. And so that way you have this nice buffer, because I know that even when you want to just receive receipts, they'll start sending you promotional stuff anyway. So that's a great way to separate things and keep one inbox clean and only real people and receipts. And so the final tip I have for you here, the final part of the system that really helped me pull out of all that time that I was spending in my inbox, is to stop. And I don't mean necessarily just stop emails altogether, but I mean stop using email as a task manager. So I like to follow a 2-minute rule. So if I can't respond to an email within 2 minutes, then it becomes a task in my task manager. Now, I've used Asana and Basecamp in the past. You can use Todoist or Trello or Notion, whatever your fancy. But if it's going to take you more than 2 minutes to reply to, then it should become a task. And so that's either you go to your task manager and you make yourself a task that's due later that day or the next day, and you just link to the email, or you go ahead and you can actually, with most task managers now, you can forward emails directly into the task manager and automatically create a task for yourself. So that's been something that's been very helpful in making sure that I am in and out of my inbox real fast, and that emails don't dominate my to-do list or how I spend my time for the day. So thank you so much for watching. Sincerely hope you got some value out of this video. And most importantly, you have a couple ideas on how to begin to tame that inbox and eventually achieve inbox 0 for some intermittent periods of time, because there is always another email on the way. So hit that like button, subscribe for more productivity videos just like this one. And until the next, keep building the business you love.